Let's go back and look at some of the testimony from Amber Heard. And she talked about this incident, December 15th, 2015, in which she says that Johnny Depp headbutted her. So let's look at the last part of her. This was really the last part of her direct testimony before the court went into recess for that, 9 or 10 day break.
Could you tell the jury what this is and what it depicts?
This is my face with a busted lip, which it's difficult to see in this picture, but my 2 black eyes, one is worse than the other. Like I said, maybe a day or 2 later. And my broken nose. Yes, that's my face sometime after.
Briefly describe for the jury what this one is.
That's my face. Okay. Some time after, and Johnny beat me up.
Joseph, you are a forensic death investigator, right? You are used to looking at bodies with injuries, albeit, deceased people, cadavers, with injuries. Your thoughts on what Amber Heard described, given that photograph, does that look like an injury to you that was caused by some sort of headbutting?
It's very specific to the eye, isn't it? This area, the suborbital area that she has right here, where the contusion is. And, one of the things that we do in forensics is that we age bruising. All of my colleagues and friends that work on child abuse cases, for instance, that's one of the things that's kind of where they dance in this area to try to age injuries, because there's a progression in time. When we are still among the living, that healing process takes place. And in the immediate, what you see is there'll be a focal area of hemorrhage and redness and swelling, that'll take place. And it'll be kind of red. I think most people at home can identify with that. But as time goes by, it begins to change a bit, and it'll go to kind of this blue to black color. And then that's generally, and again, it's subject to change depending upon the physiology of the individual and their health level and all that sort of thing. But when you get about 2 to 3 days out, sometimes some people say 3 to 4 days out, you'll have this blue to dark black color that will begin to present. So this is the issue here. Are you, when we begin to look at this, are you talking about this marries up with the timeline? Also, that injury that she has on her lip, is that associated with a single blow? Because as you can see in profile, our production people do such a fine job. You see that profile of her there, the size, that focal area on her lip there. If you're thinking about a headbutt and he's leading with the frontal bone of his skull as he impacts, that's going to be a very specific area. It's almost like a punch because the energy is concentrated right here. So which is it? Did he hit you in the lip, or did he hit you in this recessed area around your eye? And so I think that's one of the things you have to look at, and that's one of the things that the jury will be tasked at measuring here.
Well, and she described it as a headbutting, if I recall, too. So, and he claimed, they kind of bumped, that he wasn't like doing it forcefully. He says it was kind of a bump, but he's on a recording saying it's a headbutting. But he says he was like placating her. So obviously the jury is going to have to make that decision. Let's look now. A lot has been made, Joseph, in this case about makeup. We've heard a lot about makeup, and we haven't even heard Amber Heard testify about this yet, but we expect to hear her testify about her makeup routine, her beauty regimen. Her attorney, Elaine Bredehoff, held up a Milani skin-correcting palette that she said Amber Heard carried with her every day during her years with Johnny Depp, and that she used it to cover the bruises. Well, Milani is this cosmetics company, and they come out on TikTok with a video talking about this because remember, the timeline's important here. Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, the last time they were together was 2016, May 21st of 2016. Really, the last time they were together as a married couple, other than some other meetings and phone calls. But let's take a look at what Milani put out on TikTok regarding this cosmetic palette that Amber Heard said she was carrying with her throughout her whole, well, like her attorney said it. She hasn't said it yet, but during opening statements, she's saying she carried this in her purse the entire time she was dating Johnny Depp. So that would have been 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016. So let's play the clip. Okay, so basically Milani is saying they didn't manufacture, Joseph, this palette, this color-correcting product, the specific one that was held up in court until 2017. So that would have been after she would have been with Johnny Depp. So the internet kind of went wild with this, and it's interesting. I had contacted Amber Heard's team about this, and they said, well, she didn't mean that specific one, just one similar to that, and they felt Milani was trying to capitalize on this. So, but it could be a problem. It could be an issue. We'll see what happens. Maybe this will be brought up in closing arguments. And when we went to the last break, we were talking about that cosmetic palette that Amber Heard's lawyer, Elaine Bredehoft, held up in her opening statement, saying that, Amber Heard, she carried this palette, this color-correcting palette with her the entire time she dated Johnny Depp in order to cover bruises and cuts and things like that. It's made by a company called Milani. This company, Milani, then released a video on TikTok saying, guess what? We didn't make this palette. This didn't come out until 2017. And she was with Johnny Depp like 2011 through 2016. So the product they held up in opening statements wasn't even available yet. I contacted Amber Heard's team about this when this first came up and the TikTok video came out, and they said, well, she didn't mean that specific palette. She meant something like that, and that they felt that the company was trying to capitalize on, get some free publicity or some free PR out of a domestic violence case. So Neil Rockhind, you're a defense attorney. You would possibly be up there representing Amber Heard. What is your feeling about this? Because I tend to feel like you held up this thing and said this is what she carried, right? And so you're representing that to the jury, and now you're kind of backpedaling, at least through your spokesperson.
So this is a huge point. It is an unforced error. Anytime you've ever seen, let me give you something comparable in the sports arena. Guy goes in and he can make a layup and it's 2 points, right? But instead of that, he wants to do some kind of triple reverse jam, tomahawk jam, where he does a somersault. He clangs it off the front of the rim. Nobody ever forgets that. You can try to explain away all the reasons why you did that, but that's an unforced, embarrassing error. And the reason why it's so important is that her lawyer brought that up. She sponsored that evidence. She sponsored that argument. And to now come back and say, oh, well, we were wrong. We were just using that to demonstrate something. I mean, you're the one who's supposed to know the case. And that is a huge unforced error. It makes the defense look like everything they're saying, or at least on that point, is just like, they're just trying to patch up or come up with some kind of patchwork defense to these allegations. You could have just said, well, she has a cover-up. She has cover-up that she used. Why identify the brand? Why hold it up? Why hold it up in front of the jury in opening statements so that later the company says, we didn't make that at that time. Oh, we didn't mean this one. If the lawyer knew that they didn't make it, she should have just said, look, we didn't make this one at that time. We don't have the exact one she was using, but this is just for demonstrative purposes. But she said this one right here. And they're going to be able to show that one wasn't in production. I mean, it's terrible. It's an unforced error. It's a missed done.
I'm wondering, Neil, we haven't even gotten to the beauty. We haven't made it to the beauty regimen point of the testimony yet. So as we know, opening statements are not evidence, neither are closing arguments. So Do you hammer on that as Johnny Depp's attorney during cross-examination? Obviously, Amber Heard now knows that that product wasn't made until 2017. So, will you? She's going to tell us the products she uses, right? Aren't we going to get schooled in a lesson in what products Amber Heard uses to cover bruises, cuts, etc.?
Yes. Questions are all yes. Any lawyer would get up there and say, you sat there during your lawyer's opening statement. She's your representative, right? She's your chosen lawyer. She got up there, and to this jury, these folks, this is how I would conduct the cross. You sat there and you knew at that time that your lawyer was she was talking about this cover-up. She was alleging this was the makeup that you used. And you knew that entire time that she was misrepresenting something to the jury, and you never corrected it. You never said, you know what, she's wrong, or you're wrong, or encouraged her to get up there at some point during the trial, at any point, and say, you know what, it was a mistake. You allowed her to actually say that to mislead this jury, or to potentially mislead this jury. She can say whatever she wants. The jurors are going to remember that. She can say whatever she wants, but she sat there as her lawyer made that opening statement on her behalf, and she didn't correct it. Sure, she can try to correct it on the witness stand, but a good cross-examination that just focuses on those points, that's your rep got up there, your rep said that, you were sitting there, you never called her over, you've had this trial's been going on for several days, several weeks, you never once attempted to correct that. You would hope that we would never figure it out, that we would never catch on. The answers don't matter at that point. The jurors have already seen the fact that her lawyer, she was willing to let her lawyer go out on that limb. I hate to use a Pirates of the Caribbean phrase, but she let her lawyer go out there in that plank.
Neil, I hate to cut you off, but we have to take this break. And Elaine Bredehoff got that palette from somewhere, right? Somebody told her about it. Neil, thanks for being with us this hour. Joseph Scott Morgan is going to stay with us. We hope you do too. While we take this quick break, you are watching Law and Crime.